Guitars realm. Today I think I'm going to start making a fantasy dagger out of this chunk of scrap stainless. I've made some attempts at making knives out of old saw blades and stuff, and I kept running into problems with rust and stuff, so I made a copy of this one out of the piece I cut out here, and that worked out pretty good. So with the remaining piece, I think I'll just make a fantasy dagger. I was looking online at some different pictures and stuff, and I settled on this one, so that'll fit in there like that, and I can add a little more for the handle here. So I'm just going to get this pattern traced on here and get it cut out and start getting that blade shaped. Alright, I got it rough cut out, kind of shaped. So I think I'm going to continue on, just use a file to fine tune some of these curves and stuff where I couldn't get the grinder in, and it doesn't do a real good job of getting it exactly the shape I want it. So I'm going to take a file to some of these, and then on the handle, I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to end up doing that. I kind of want something really to grab onto there, so I left that a little thicker. And I don't know exactly how long to make it, and then I'll probably put like a cross guard, because this part's going to be sharpened and I don't want to risk your hand slipping up there, so I may add some kind of cross guard here. But for now, I'm just going to kind of fine tune some of these curves and edges and stuff. Alright, I got it pretty much sized out, and now I'm going to go back with a flapper disc and start putting an edge on this. Just drew the lines about where I want to take it to, so I'll get started on that. Alright, I got the blades kind of roughly sharpened, so I'm going to go back with a file and kind of fine tune some of these. Alright, I made my way around the knife's edge with just a hand file, just to kind of even up some of that I did with the angle grinder, and then have continued on this side, just doing it by hand with 120 grit sandpaper, just to take those scratches and everything off from the file. And I could probably do this with a power tool or something like that, but I kind of like just doing it by hand, and it takes a long time. But so I'm just going to continue on with that on this other side. Alright, continuing on here, I got it sanded down just with 120 grit to get the file marks off, and decided to cut the tang like this. I've also been working on the hand guard. Ended up just using a piece of 1-inch just carbon steel, put a slot in it, and took this 1/4-inch rod and bent it and sharpened up a little thing, welded it on here, and now that'll go like this. So I'm working on the handle now, and I think I'm just going to use this piece of a pallet runner, because it's made out of oak. It's really hard. So just kind of squared it up a little. I'll cut it down the middle, and then that's what I plan on using for the handle. Alright, I got the wood cut for the handle, and did the angle here for the handguard. So I think I'm just going to countersink one side of the handle, the tang into one side of the handle, because when I cut it, it wasn't quite even. So I'm just going to use a Dremel and countersink that, so it should be pretty close to even once it's put together. Alright, continuing on here, I've just been spending a little time doing some 220 grit on this. I'm going to do 600 next, probably take it to 2000, see how it goes. Got that handle piece notched, and I'm going to be drilling the holes for the rivets to go through the handle. I'm just going to use this 1/8 inch stainless steel rod for TIG welding, so that'll go through. I'm going to do that now so I can put the handle together and start forming it before I put it on. And then on the hand guard, I just heated it up with a weed burner and sprayed WD-40 on it, so it's got a nice coating on the outside, I guess carbon, I guess. That'll protect it from rusting and made it black. It's still kind of warm. So get these holes drilled. Alright, I got the holes drilled in the handle and just tacked it together and started roughly shaping it out with the belt sander. Unfortunately, this nail hole from that pallet runner went deeper than I thought, but I'm just going to keep going. Maybe I'll fill it in with epoxy when I glue the handle on. So I'm just going to continue sanding this down, get it closer to the final shape. It's kind of chunky handle, but I think that matches with the blade. So just gonna keep sanding this for a little bit. Alright, I got the blade all polished up to 2000 grit. It's pretty good. And now it's time to epoxy this handle on. I'm just going to use this quick set epoxy and smear it on there, get those pins in and clamp it together. So gotta be kind of quick with this stuff. Alright, I put a layer of black stain on there and then just wiped it off and kind of sanded it off to expose the grain. Now I'm going to put some alcohol ink. I'm going to go with deep purple. So this is just alcohol ink used for epoxy resin, but I like to use it as stain. It makes some nice colors. So it's leaking good. Keep adding some color here till it gets nice and dark. That's not as dark as I would want it, kind of pink. Alright, all done. Ended up putting a clear coat on the handle. I think that turned out pretty good. I like the purple. But it was a pretty fun build. I enjoyed it. I think it turned out pretty cool. Thanks for watching. Until next time.